Hello everybody. I'm going to do a video today on conquering your fears. Fears that are getting in your way. Fears that are stopping you from doing something that you want to do or feeling something that you want to feel. Taking actions effectively that are being limited because you're afraid of something. Which is a very common thing. And I'm just going to explain what's worked for me. If you want to delve into this, there's a great little book by a lady called Susan Jeffries, I think. It's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And it's not complete, but it certainly gives a lot of great tips as to how to reframe fear. But here's my kind of 2-second chunk, my t-shirt analysis of fear. Fear is an anxiety about the future which is not occurring at this moment in time. So fear is unsolvable in this moment. What's happening is you are making a fearful response. You are doing fear about something that might or might not occur in the future. Yeah? And your brain is a kind of an action goal-oriented thing. It loves to fix things, but you can't fix something which isn't occurring. So it's useful to know that, okay? The things that you are fearful of, they're not occurring, right? I've done another video somewhere else about psychological illusion, and you can look into that, but when the thing that you're afraid of is occurring, believe me, your mindset will be utterly different, right? Your mindset, when the thing that you're afraid of is occurring, will be very, it will either have gone into fight, flight, freeze mode, or it will have gone into what on earth am I going to do right now in this moment, yeah? Problem solving mode. And you will take action very rapidly. When it's a fear, it's like a sense of foreboding, but at the back of the sense of foreboding basically is a sort of a protective mechanism. It's trying to look after you. If you don't do this, then this thing that I'm concerned might happen definitely won't happen. Yeah. So it's a conflict between head and heart, really, or head and gut. So what I've learned is that those types of fears cannot go away through preparation, right? What people kind of think that they do, or what I tried to do, was to get accustomed to the fear, yeah? To prepare for it. If such and such happens, how will I respond? How will I relate? All that kind of stuff. But you just wrap yourself up in knots doing this, okay? It turns out the way to reduce the fear is by doing whatever it is that you want to do. Not all of it, but a little bit of it, and then taking stock. It's only by doing that you realize that the thing that you were afraid of isn't necessarily going to occur, okay? That actually it's pretty unlikely it's going to occur, because the thing that you're afraid of is the extremity of a whole range of potential responses. Yeah, it's just that one or two of them are unpalatable. But let's be honest, right? If you think about pretty much any action that you take, there is a potential response out there which might be bad, right? But it doesn't stop you doing it. You could say the same thing about driving a car, right? There is a potential that somebody in the opposite direction drives into you, but it doesn't stop you intrinsically, because the benefits are great, right? Most of the time with these fears, it's the same, right? There is something that we want to do. There is a benefit associated with this action, but there is a fear at the back of our mind that kind of wants to keep us safe by avoiding that potential danger, okay? And it turns out the only way to bust through that fear is by doing. It's not by thinking. No amount of thinking and feeling allows you to get out of it. But the moment that you experience whatever it is that you're doing, and the catastrophe doesn't occur, well, then you've cracked it, right, in a second. So how can you do that? Best way for me is this idea of making progress. If I don't take action, then I'm not making any progress. I'm just ossifying. I'm just stuck where I am. So tomorrow I'm going to have the same problem, the same goal, and the same fear, right? Nothing will have changed. If I do it, and it turns out badly, well, at the very least, I know what it is not to ever do again, right? I can course correct. I can do something different. The thing that I want to do, whatever it may be, the goal, well, it's still valid, right? I still want to achieve that goal. And so what I've learned is that whatever I did was not the right way to do it. Or, best of all, I take action. It leads me towards my goal, and the thing I was afraid of doesn't occur. Yeah, they're kind of the three only options, right? The worst of those three options is I don't do anything. Because if I don't do anything, tomorrow I've still got exactly the same things as I had today. I haven't learned anything. I haven't made any progress. The second best option is that I do it and things don't go as well as I hoped, right? So I've made a mistake, right? You might want to consider that word mistake. You know, when you have, when a film is being performed, is that the word? When a film is being filmed, you have takes, yeah, and then you have outtakes for things that go wrong, right? Well, a mistake is like an outtake, yeah? Just divide the word in two. People make mistakes all the time, right? Every amazing achievement that has ever occurred in the world, I'm almost certain, even though I can't prove it, that it was the prelude to each one of those achievements was a whole series of mistakes, because that's how people learn, right? From the moment we're born, we don't walk instantly. We get up, we fall over, we learn, oh, that's not quite right, and we try again, and we try again, and we try again. It's just that when we get older, we don't like to be publicly humiliated, and so we'd rather do it right first time. But that doesn't mean we're going to make it right first time, right? It's not how it works. So consider a mistake as a sort of growing pains, you know, along the path towards the goal that we wish to achieve, right? There's another nice little metaphor which you might like about this. So you do something and it turns out that it's not quite right, okay? And you might get a bit discouraged by that. Consider water that's boiling in a pan, okay? Anywhere between about sort of 5 degrees C and 95 degrees C, the water looks identical. You can't tell, even though it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's getting closer and closer to boiling point. You can't tell. Right? All of the change occurs at that sort of 0 degrees C, and at 100 degrees C, between 99 and 100, whoosh, it boils. But just before, you couldn't tell. So it's kind of the same when you're on the path towards these goals. Sometimes, from time to time, some message comes back to you that tells you that you're on track. But sometimes you get no feedback at all, and that's okay, you know. So if that occurs, but your gut says, I'm doing what is important to me. When I do this, it feels like I'm in flow, whatever it may be. Consider the boiling water. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to give you feedback every second. Yeah, and then of course the ultimate is that you try something and it does indeed deliver the goal that you wish. Now, you do this step by step. Okay, so you make a step forward. Hopefully something good happens. If something bad happens, well, then you've learned from it and you don't do that. You course correct and you do something else. Yeah. As long as your goal is a gleaming goal and it makes sense, and you've attached some kind of leverage to not going down the path, so that you really are sure that you're going in a path that your highest self, your greatest endeavors choose to do so, then you won't get knocked off track if you make mistakes, because people just make mistakes. Okay. You do that piece by piece. You don't eat the elephant all in one go. You eat it chunk by chunk. You check in with a little bit of your creative side, a little bit of your critical side, and you keep bouncing between the two, so that in the sort of similar to getting across a river, you don't necessarily go in a straight line. You might go from stone to stone to stone, and you get where you're going. Okay, if you find a point, because basically what's going to happen is at every point that you go forward, you may then create another fear, a slightly nuanced fear of the previous one, because you're readapting to your current situation. The thing that you were afraid of before, well, there's no point in being afraid of that now because you've moved through. But that doesn't mean to say that your brain can't continue to protect you. It's like your best friend, right? It's like a risk manager that's on your side trying to look after you. So when it does, just kind of thank it. It's like, okay, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep me safe, and I'll listen to you. I will take the elements of that which are helpful, but I'm not just going to give in and go down that route the entire way. I'll use it and incorporate it into getting my goals, rather than therefore avoiding my goals. Yeah, I think that's kind of all you need to say at this moment about pushing through fears. The absolutely important things to notice are, A, if it's a fear, it's not occurring today, so you are trying to solve something unsolvable, and therefore the only way to make progress through fears is by doing, right? That's absolutely critical. So just do a little digestible, palatable part, just enough, putting your toe in the water sort of idea. See what the response is. Do a bit more. Do a bit more. The way to pass through your fears is by experiencing. Okay? I hope that helps. I think that kind of, it's enough. It's kind of the philosophy that I take, right? You notice when these fears come up, and when they do, it's perfectly legit, but they're not right? They're possible future outcomes. So just learn from them, thank them, but keep on your golden path. That's the idea, yeah? And you know when you're on the path because it feels good, especially, interestingly, when you push through your fear, yeah? So in spite of the fear, you do something, and whatever unfurls, well, there's a great sense of exhilaration, a sense of achievement from that you don't get when you're staying inside your comfort zone. I did another video somewhere about getting comfortable with what is uncomfortable. Similar sort of idea. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope it's useful. As I keep on blathering on, please do send me your comments, your thoughts. It's the only way that I know if I'm on track or off track. And let me know if there are other thoughts that you have on a similar subject. Let me know. All right, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye.